Are you hitting the incline dumbbell press every week, but your upper chest is still looking disappointingly flat? Do you end every set feeling a burn in your shoulders and triceps, but almost nothing in your chest? If that sounds familiar, trust me, you're not imagining things, and you are definitely not alone. It's one of the most common frustrations in the gym. You're doing the so-called king of upper chest exercises, but your shoulders are hogging the spotlight, leaving your upper pecs behind. But here's the good news. The problem isn't the exercise, it's how you're doing it. The line between a frustrating, stalled-out press and one that builds a thick, full upper chest comes down to a few small but game-changing details. In this video, we're going to break down every component you need to finally get your upper chest to grow, turning the incline dumbbell press into the best tool in your arsenal. To fix the problem, you've got to know the target. Your chest, the pectoralis major, isn't just one big slab of muscle. It's made of different sections with fibers running in different directions. The two main players are the sternocostal head, the large part that makes up your mid and lower chest, and the clavicular head, which is your upper chest. This is the muscle we're after. It starts at your collarbone, and its main job is to bring your arm up and across your body. This is exactly why the incline angle is so critical. A flat bench press mostly hits that big middle part of the chest. A decline press shifts the focus even lower. But when you set the bench on an incline, you change your body's angle, putting that upper, clavicular head in the perfect position to do most of the work. And this is where dumbbells really shine. Unlike a barbell, dumbbells force each arm to pull its own weight, which is fantastic for fixing strength imbalances you might not even know you have. They also let your arms move more freely and naturally, giving you a better range of motion and a deeper stretch at the bottom, a crucial ingredient for sparking muscle growth. So many people get this exercise wrong before they even pick up the weights. Your setup isn't just a warm-up, it's the most important part of the whole lift. Get this right, and you're 90% of the way to a better press. First, let's nail the single most critical variable, the bench angle. The sweet spot for hitting the upper chest while keeping your shoulders out of it is an incline of around 30 to 45 degrees. For most people, starting at 30 degrees is the money angle. A lot of lifters make the mistake of jacking the bench up to 45 degrees, or even higher, but at that point, the exercise becomes more of a shoulder press, exactly what we're trying to avoid. On the flip side, an angle that's too low, like 15 degrees, just shifts the work back to your mid-chest. Most benches have the settings marked. 30 degrees is usually the second or third notch up from flat. Play around in that 30-45 degree zone and see what you feel the most in your upper chest. Next up, stability. You can't move serious weight from a shaky foundation. Plant your feet firmly on the floor, a bit wider than your shoulders, and think about driving them into the ground for the entire lift. Your butt should be glued to the seat and should never lift off. Now for your upper body. You want a slight natural arch in your lower back, but your upper back and shoulders must stay pinned to the bench. This isn't that crazy powerlifting arch that turns an incline into a flat press. This small arch creates stability and, more importantly, helps you pack your shoulders. And shoulder packing is the real game changer. Before you even think about pressing, you need to pull your shoulder blades back together and pull them down, like you're trying to tuck them into your back pockets. This does two things. It keeps your shoulder joints safe and sound, and it forces your chest to do the heavy lifting, preventing your delts from taking over. With your setup locked in, it's time to move some weight. The safest way to get into position is to sit with the dumbbells on your thighs. In one smooth motion, kick your knees up one by one to help launch the dumbbells up to the starting position as you lie back. At the start, the dumbbells should be at the sides of your upper chest. Your forearms need to be perpendicular to the floor, and your wrists should be straight. Most importantly, your elbows should be tucked in at about a 45 to 60 degree angle from your body. A huge, all too common mistake is flaring your elbows out to 90 degrees. This puts a ton of stress on your shoulder joints and shifts the load right where you don't want it. Now press. Drive the dumbbells up and slightly back in a natural arc. Don't just push them straight up. Think of it like a triangle. They should end up almost directly over your collarbone at the top. A killer mental cue is to think about squeezing your biceps together or trying to touch them to your clavicles. This ensures you're getting a powerful contraction in your pecs. At the top, press to a full extension but don't slam your elbows into lockout. A soft lockout keeps the tension on your chest. Now, Here's a secret that separates the pros from the amateurs. The negative. Control the weight on the way down. Take at least 2 to 3 seconds to lower it. Bring the dumbbells down until you feel a deep stretch in your chest, which is usually when your elbows are just a bit below your shoulders. You don't need to touch your chest. Just go as deep as your mobility allows comfortably. Pause for just a split second at the bottom to kill the momentum, then explode back up. And don't forget to breathe. Take a deep breath in and brace your core on the way down, then exhale with force as you press up. Alright, before we dive into the common mistakes that could be sabotaging your gains, let's talk about the other half of the muscle building equation, your nutrition. You can have the most perfect form in the gym, but if you're not fueling your body correctly, especially for guys over 40, that new muscle growth will be painfully slow. To help you out with that, I've put together a complete high-protein meal plan for men over 40. It's packed with easy, delicious meals to make sure you're getting the protein you need to actually build the muscle you're working so hard for. If you're serious about your results, I highly recommend grabbing a copy. The link is right at the top of the description below. Now, let's make sure you're not making any of these 3 critical mistakes. If you've been stuck in a rut with this exercise, chances are you're making one of these 3 common mistakes. Mistake number 1, the shoulder takeover. This is the number 1 complaint, and it's almost always caused by 2 things: a bench angle that's too high and elbows that are flared out too wide. If your bench is at 45 degrees or more, your shoulders are in a better position to take over the lift. Combine that with 90-degree flared elbows, and you've got a recipe for shoulder pain and 0 chest gains. The fix is simple. Drop your bench to that 30-degree sweet spot and consciously tuck your elbows. Mistake number 2, the ego lift. This is just using way too much weight to control it with good form. You see it all the time. Bouncing the weight off the chest, using momentum to heave it up, and cutting the range of motion in half. If you're only doing half reps, you're only going to get half the results. Muscle growth happens when you challenge it with a tension through a full range of motion. Leave your ego at the door, drop the weight, and focus on that deep stretch at the bottom and a hard squeeze at the top of every single rep. Mistake number 3, losing your base and arching like a cat. When the set gets tough, it's natural to want to cheat. A common way this happens is by lifting your hips off the bench and creating a huge arch in your back. Your body is trying to recruit stronger muscles by changing the angle of the press. When you arch your back that much, you're turning your 30-degree incline press into a 10-degree press, or even a flat press, which totally defeats the purpose. The fix: stay focused on your 3 points of contact. Feet on the floor, glutes on the bench, and upper back on the bench. Squeezing your glutes can help keep your hips planted. Perfect form is the foundation, but smart programming is what builds the skyscraper. If your goal is muscle growth, your training needs to reflect that. For your routine, performing the incline dumbbell press once or twice a week is a great place to start. Aim for 3 to 4 hard sets in the 8 to 15 rep range. For pure muscle building, really focusing on that 12 to 15 rep range with a controlled tempo can be incredibly effective. But the single most important rule for long-term growth is progressive overload. You have to give your muscles a reason to grow by making your workouts harder over time. That can mean adding a little more weight, doing 1 more rep than last time, or adding another set. But remember, progressive overload only counts if your form stays locked in. To really dial up the intensity, play with your lifting tempo. Try focusing on a slow, 3-second negative, the lowering part. This dramatically increases the time your muscle is under tension, which is a powerful signal for growth. Finally, build a strong mind-muscle connection. Don't just mindlessly move the weight. On every rep, put your mind in the muscle. Feel your upper chest fibers stretch at the bottom, and then squeeze them as hard as you can at the top. This focus can make a huge difference in your results. Alright, so you've nailed the form. Now what? If you feel a plateau coming on or just want to mix things up, it's time to throw your muscles a curveball with these variations. Alternating dumbbell press. Instead of pressing both dumbbells at once, press one up while keeping the other stable at your chest, then switch. This forces your core to work harder to keep you stable, and is great for ironing out any strength differences between your left and right sides. Neutral grip press. Do the press with your palms facing each other. A lot of people find this grip is much easier on their shoulder joints. It also changes the stress on the muscle fibers just enough to be a great source of new variety. Pause. Reps. This one is humbling. Add a 1 to 2 second pause at the very bottom of the rep, in that fully stretched position. This kills all momentum and the stretch reflex, forcing your pecs to work exponentially harder to start the press. It's tough, but it's an incredible tool for building raw strength and muscle. The incline dumbbell press isn't a complex exercise, but it is an exercise of details. When you stop chasing the numbers and start focusing on mastering the technique, the 30-degree angle, the packed shoulders, the controlled negative, and the full range of motion, you can finally stop letting your shoulders steal the show. You can turn this movement from a point of frustration into your #1 tool for building the full, powerful upper chest you've been working for. I hope this breakdown helped you out. If it did, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into training and science. And I want to hear from you in the comments. What's the one exercise in the gym that you're struggling with the most? Let me know, and I might just break it down in a future video.